I'm just going to ask them to share what lockdown's been like for them.
Good morning, everyone. Lockdown. Oh, what was that? Yes. Lockdown came as a bit of a shock to us. We could sort of see it coming. I don't know if you know, but Jill and I, many of you do know this, that we are very keen. Right. Typical wife, isn't it, that? Jill and I are very keen sailors and cyclists. And a bit of a disaster happened at the start of lockdown because we've been planning for 3 months to do the cycle ride called the Way of the Roses. Now, the Way of the Roses, for those of people who've never heard of it, which is probably most of you, starts at Morecambe, goes across the Pennines, and ends up at Bridlington. And it's about 170 miles, and we were going to do it in 6 days, and we booked all the accommodation, booked all meals and so on, and all of a sudden, we lost it. And it really was a big disappointment having spent all that time planning. By the way, we're starting it hopefully in a week's time. Yes. So we had to decide what we got to do. We had all this sort of exercise time the government was telling us about, so we decided to do some cycling around Plymouth. Now, living in Plymstock, we didn't know further than the city centre, so we decided we were going to know a lot more by using cycle routes in Plymouth. So we got to know Devonport and Devonport Park and Keam and Central Park, and then a delightful place we came across, which we never knew existed, and that was Ham Woods. And there's a lovely cycle ride through Ham Woods. And we met people from church on the way on our cycling. We met Jean Aldersley on one cycle ride. We met an ex-person who used to come here, that's Gordon Rose and his wife. And then as lockdown started to be lifted, we were cycling in Tavistock. We'd gone up the Plym Trail to Tavistock, just on our way back, when there we are, Don Nuttall and all his family. And it was lovely to see them, and they wish to be remembered to all of you. And that's my bit about cycling.
The thing that I missed most to start with was playing the organ and meeting here in church. I found that quite hard and really missed that. And it's good to have our online services, but it's not the same as being here, is it at all? And I found it quite distracting, I think, being in my living room, and couldn't really worship God the way I would here. I found it quite hard, so that was a difficult thing. Also, house group. We run the house group, and that was it's hard not meeting together with them, although we kept in touch on the phone. So a couple of weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, we decided we could meet together outside and have a cream tea. So the 6 of us got together and had our cream tea outside our house. Then it started raining, so we went inside. And it wasn't till a few days later we were reminded, actually, that was illegal because there were 6 of us from different households. Oops, it would be fine now because of the rule of 6, but there we go. So, yeah, that's how it's affected me in church-wise.
Hands up the people here who during lockdown, have done a lot more gardening. Yes. Not as many as I hoped, but still. Well, I'll let you into a secret. I am the world's worst gardener. No decent plant is safe when I'm around. Weeds are okay, but not plants. So Jill took it on herself to make certain I did some proper gardening. And I spent a lot of the summer, when I'd got free time, which of course in the case of all of us we had, I did plenty of gardening. And I must say now the garden looks better than it's done for the 23 years we've lived in Plymouth. By the way, if you don't know our garden, it stretches way up a hill. There are 64 steps to the top of the garden. Have I got it right there? 61. I always exaggerate. To be quite honest, with the lovely weather, it's been an ideal time to do some gardening. So that's the other thing I should remember about lockdown.
The other thing I really missed was my tap dancing classes. I missed seeing my friends there as well as the actual exercise and the fun of the dance. It's not quite the same on Zoom in your garage. The other thing that I would normally be doing is hospital visiting once a week. Obviously, I'm not allowed to do that still, so that's one thing I've missed. For the first few weeks, it was quite nice. I was free of all the commitments. It was like being on holiday. As Barrie said, the weather was good. We could do gardening, decorating, all those things. Then I sort of thought, what am I doing here? Am I any use to anybody? You know, I felt like I should be doing something to help other people, but we weren't allowed to do it. That's quite hard.
Final thing from me, you'll be relieved to know. Like everybody else, I might ask you to put your hands up on this. Did you miss your families? Yes, we did, hands down. You can tell I was a teacher, can't you? We missed our family tremendously. We have 2 daughters and we've got 4 grandchildren. One of our daughters, the eldest one, lives in Yeovil. The youngest one is in Exeter. We have seen them as we're allowed to do so, but we've missed them tremendously. Fortunately, one of our daughters set up a WhatsApp. You all know about WhatsApp, do you? Yes, set up a WhatsApp, so we swap pictures and messages all the time. And it's nice to think that this afternoon we're going to see our younger daughter at Hope Cove. Because if we don't seize the opportunity, we don't know what's coming, do we? And we'll all be on tenterhooks this week. But it's lovely to think about our family and be able to see them sometime.
The other thing is, if you do see them, you can't give them a hug, can you? It's horrible. Anyway, the other thing we love doing, as you know, is sailing. So we missed that until May when the marina was opened up and we were allowed to go out again. So that's been lovely. So you can socially distance in the middle of the ocean. That's fine. So, in fact, we had a lovely week in Cornwall last week. That's why we went here then. And
finally from me, you thought you'd finish with me, didn't you? And finally from me, I just wanted to say, isn't it lovely to be back in church, to worship God in church? And I just want to say thank you to the elders and the staff team who've made it possible. Thank you.